And we are live Sunday night.
What's happy haps?
Welcome to On the King's Dime. Pretty good weekend, that. Not bad.
Good weekend. I'm loving it.
Feeling good. Kings 2-0 as we take care of the Breakers home and away. A couple of very, very good performances. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe down the bottom. We're on YouTube, iTunes, and we're on Podcast Addict. The Facebook group as well. Give us a like. And I did some tweeting today. That was groundbreaking stuff. Fun. I'm not the most experienced Twitterator out there. And also we've got a Patreon too if you want to give us some dollars to sort of pay for our hosting and that. Really appreciate everyone coming along and listening to us, watching along. And we appreciate people sort of saying what you think and interaction. So if you've got anything to say about the Kings or about us talking about the Kings, go ahead and say g'day and let us know what you think. But first things first, the first game. So at home, Friday night, first home game.
Yeah.
Crowd didn't look that great. I just want to start there. I'm just going to put
You
it out
know why
there.
the Edinburgh military tattoo was on?
Ooh.
So it was. I think people were avoiding the area because there's probably like 60,000 people at ANZ. That's
okay.
why I knew straight away. I was like, yeah, they're not going to get a bumper crowd tonight. They've got this big ass event on. Parking would have been a nightmare. You know, it's a Friday night after work. You don't really want to catch public transport there. So that's why the crowd wasn't too. But it's good to see 6,000 people turn out though. That's,
yeah. There was something else on too, like the NRL 9s maybe or something like that was on, or something else was on.
There was just tons of shit on.
It
was good.
The atmosphere was a bit. For a first game, you'd like to see a little bit better atmosphere. Says me who just watched it from home, but you know what I'm saying. But it was a little bit disappointing. It was Brazilian night too. I saw some stuff on Twitter. Brazilian night.
Yeah, it's they were paying homage to Didi Lovato. Next weekend's Halloween night. So get your spooky basketball outfits on. But it was
against Brisbane, yeah.
Against Brisbane. Well, they're bad at the moment. Woo, stinky poo-poos. I can safely say Bogut is back to MVP form. Yeah. What do you reckon?
No, don't get ahead of yourself, because I first want to just quickly chat about Kevin Lisch's injury. That's the first thing I got on my little list here.
On your list, ankle. Look, we're lucky we have the depth now, I think, to negate Kevin Lisch being out of the team. I think when he gets back to the team, our team just takes it up another level with perimeter defense. I think Sean Bruce is doing a good enough job, in the ball handling arena and getting the offense going. I think that obviously the scoring capabilities isn't there, but 2 weeks out, I don't know how serious it is. He didn't travel with the team to New Zealand, I don't think. I didn't see him on the bench there, so hopefully he's resting up and gets back to it pretty quickly.
So you're right. You touched on that guard depth this season. I instantly was like, oh, well, at least we've got plenty of guard depth. Kiwani can even get some minutes if we absolutely have to stretch it out. It's a little bit of a worry. So the other thing was Bogut before we talk about, because I want to get to Didi as well, Didi's debut. But firstly, I just want to talk about Bogut. Like Bogut he said he didn't train after tonight's game. He said he didn't train all week and basically barely made that Friday night game. So that was like a little bit of a worry. Like I feel like if we had a little bit more depth at the forward spot, we might be able to get away with either resting him or playing him a little bit less. The other thing too, I was looking at the minutes logs, and he's only playing like 29 minutes. So it's kind of, I don't know. I'm looking at it like,
I think his body's just coming off a massive World Cup still, and that was his season, and he needs his off season to recoup. So he's got a week off, obviously, between this game and the next game. Sorry, I've got a beer here as well. If you're noticing that in my hand.
No product.
No product. It's just a beer.
Single beer.
So he's got a week off in between. Obviously, this game, next game, he just needs to get better. I think his back was giving a bit of tightness this whole weekend. Ankle not looking good. He's not a spring chicken. Playing a game every 2 days for 2 weeks will knock anyone around. So he's come into a pretty early start to the season. I would say that he just needs a 4 weeks recovery in there and maybe playing 15, 20 minutes a game for a couple of rounds. Now that we've got the 4-0.
Yep.
It's time to get Jordan Hunter into the mix and get him ready for finals basketball, I think, early on, because that's I think Daniel Kicker's going to be very, very hard to play at the 5 in finals basketball. But if you get Jordan Hunter being aggressive in the shot blocking and even potentially on the offensive glass, then you're going to have a backup that you can go to. And I think Will Weaver is still very hesitant to play him in the early rounds for that. But Bogut needs his minutes reduced significantly in order to recuperate.
So it's just like it's early doors. We're 4-0. He still looks great though. Like he still looks like
just
like a big man who's just taking over the league. Basically, the ultimate shot blocker, just grabbing an insane amount of boards. The only thing is like the games are coming thick and fast, so he's not going to get a little window. Like I'd expect kind of between now and the end of the year to still be like he's going to be chasing his body back to get back to full fitness to the end of the year. And then there's going to be a few little niggles here and there. I don't think he's going to get a little stretch where, because last year he had that like 3 or 4 month stretch where basically he came back down under, got to just spread out a little bit in Sydney. And then, then he ramped up for preseason and then got into the season. So we've got to just keep our eye on that one. What did you think about the Breakers, just to go into something just before we get to Diddy? What did you think about the Breakers this season? What do you think they look like?
They look good. I mean, they took it to the Kings in both instances. I think that they're probably lacking depth at the 5 spot against a Bogut-style player. I think Rob Lowe's good, but he just gets munched down low in the glass. Stretch 5, he takes it outside their thing. But
yeah, but I'm sitting there going, shoot. Yes, please shoot more, Rob Lowe. I think he was 2. Let's just quickly look at it. I think he had 2 of 7 in the first game from 3. Rob Lowe, what do we got here? Rob Lowe, 2 of 7 in game 1, and then 3 of 5. So I'm like, yeah, keep shooting, Rob Lowe. If the ball's out of Ty Wesley's hand and Abercrombie and RJ Hampton and Hobson, Hobson played really well in the first game. Like they look like a really good team, but they'll be a good team in about 3 or 4 years when they've gelled. But by that time, I think guys like Hobson and RJ Hampton are going to have left.
I honestly think give them 10 rounds to gel. I think they've got a smart coach who's been at the helm of the Israeli league for a while and has won coach of the year there, won some tournaments there. Give him a few rounds to get that team to gel. I think they're just lacking. They're lacking real guard depth. I think Jared Weeks is a bit past his prime.
Is he? How old is he? Ex-Sydney. He played for Sydney a while back.
I think he's just past his prime. Even if he's 25, he's past his prime.
Past his prime. I can't even. He doesn't even have a wiki. What's going on, Jared Weeks? Here's an IMDb. Jared Weeks' age. There's not even an entry. I can't even find how old Jared Weeks is. Jared Weeks, player profile, real GM. But anyway, like he loves a scrap butt, Jared Weeks.
He does, but I think that RJ's looking quite good at that one spot. He's still this is a professional league, although it's not the NBA. He's still finding what he needs to do. He's not as physical as probably a Didi Lozada, who's quite physical. Even Casper Ware's quite physical. He'll get into it and start pushing off to shoot, but he's probably a little bit tentative finding his way in the league. But they look like a team that's going to probably crack the top 4, I would say. Get to that 4 or 5 spot. I don't know
if they're going to make the finals.
I like them for that. I think that they've got the scoring depth. They've obviously got the 4 spot depth as well. I liked who was their power forward.
They got Sek Henry.
Hobson looks good.
Majok played a few minutes. It was basically Lowe, Webster. Abercrombie played a little bit of forward as well. I just think they look like a team where in 3 years they'll be good, but then guys like RJ Hampton, Webster, and Sek Henry and Hobson, they're all not going to be there, so they're going to be just back to square one. But I like the look of them, man. I think they're going to win a few games this season. It was a good test for us because they didn't relent. Like they didn't just give in. Like even in the first game they came back, and then a few mixed performances, like late in games they just couldn't execute. And we look like a team where it's just like, we're a really good defensive team, so what are you going to do? And we just kind of clamped them up in both games, which is good.
We clamped up in both games, but I have to say, man, Jay Sean Tate on the offensive glass is just unreal.
A beast. We'll get to him. We'll start with Diddy anyway. What did you think about Diddy, his debut on Friday?
Had a rough night. He's had rough nights. He looks good in stretches. I think defensively he's excellent. Very smart defensive player, long arms.
So imposing, eh?
so very physical. Gets to the hoop no matter what. Finishing is, you can see the class is there, but maybe just not dropping because of his lack of game time and preparation. He looked really good coming into the season.
He was
But
flying, and then he's had that little back injury. I think
he
that's
looked, yeah,
affecting him, man, because I've noticed his shot is a little bit slower. Like, he's actually pulling up and like taking a little. I think it's affecting him because his shot's gone pretty much. I think he shot 0 of 4 in game 1 and then 1 of 5 today. And overall, I think he's 4 of 17 today, and then he had 2 of 12. So what's that? 29, 6 from 29 in 2 games.
yeah. I mean, it's good to see him getting up the numbers. I think that's important for the down. I think he's going to be a really important piece coming down to it. But a defensive powerhouse, man. On the defensive end, he is so intelligent, so smart. He's definitely, if Brian Bowen can get a 2-week contract
Yeah.
he's definitely NBA quality.
Yeah,
I would see
he
him.
will be playing in the NBA. There's no doubt about it. He has the size and the athleticism. The thing you don't really realize when you see him is how imposing he is. Like, we were at that Hawks game and you could see it. You're just like, man, he's so imposing. Like, he's such a big dude standing up against some of these other guys that are 6'3", 6'2". Like, you could see it. Even sort of, he looked like as big or even bigger than LaMelo, basically. And I think LaMelo's taller than him, but he's obviously got the thickness that LaMelo doesn't really have. But yeah, I think he had a really good debut. I think he's still injured, man. They've had to rush him back because that was why I wanted to start with Kevin Lish's injury, because I think they've had to kind of just nudge him along, like nudge Didi along a little bit and say, you're going to have to go play some minutes, or like, I'm sure he was kind of ready, but they had to stop taking it easy and like stop sort of babying him a little bit and just be like, we have to put you in here. And I'm sure he was kind of ready the last couple of weeks, but they didn't want to rush him back.
Yeah.
But I thought he played well in game 1. It was a 96-91 win for the Kings. What did you think about that game in general Friday night? The energy in the stadium was a little bit, I don't know, it felt flat on the TV to me.
It did feel flat on the TV, but again, that could just be SBS coverage. Although it was an ESPN, I watched an ESPN feed on KO because I had to watch it later that day, obviously coming on a plane back from Melbourne. Looked a little bit flat, but again, I think it was a small crowd, Friday night. Everyone rushing from work, like people finish work in the city. It's hard to get there. It's not a great time to watch sport in any way, shape.
It really isn't, eh?
Unless the stadium is next to the city and people can go straight afterwards. But it's miles away. It's at Homebush. It's not a place that people are. It's a place that people need to go to. So I think that you're going to find the Saturday night and Sunday crowds a hell of a lot better in that respect. But that doesn't matter. I think that we played exceptionally well. I think the Breakers played exceptionally well, but I think some big minutes from Jayshawn Tate, Bogut just being super effective, and Casper Ware just throwing up shots. But let me say, Brad Newley played extremely well Friday night.
For sure.
A little bit quiet today. And I'm loving the minutes from Moller. I didn't think much of him at the beginning of the season, but he is a hustle, and he's a big body. He'd be at least 6'9".
Yeah, I think he's 6'7", listed at about 6'7". But
he's a tall dude.
So we'll start, like, first on my list here I got, how did we look without Kevin Lish? I think Diddy slotted in there all right. I still want to see Kevin Lish back because it falls, like Casper, we'll talk quickly about Casper Ware. I don't, like,
he's putting up a lot of shots.
Just offense, man. Like, I was thinking about it before we started. Like, I'm thinking in my head, there's a meter of like, how worried are you about how he's going in this team? Like, obviously he's playing well. He's putting up points. I'm kind of at about a 4 out of 10 of like, I'm starting to get a bit worried. Like, his offense doesn't really fit this team. He's putting up some garbage shots, man. Like, and he's not shooting the 3-ball well. I got the raw numbers here for like up until this game. 4 of 27 after the first New Zealand game that we're talking about now. So he's 4 of 27 from 3. The 3-ball is just not dropping for him at all. It's a worry, man. But
I think a lot of teams have cottoned on to the fact if you run him off the line, he'll shoot anyway, and therefore he's putting up a contested shot. I think when he gets into his mind, he's not the same playmaker Randall is. If he gets into his mind, he's going up the shot, he can change. Whereas with Casper Ware will just shoot it no matter what. I think he's that pure scorer. Whereas Randall was that kind of, I will find the pass if I need to. And I think that's, Sean Bruce had 7 dishes on Friday night. And, Sean Bruce is that pass first point guard that we probably need in this team when we've got Lish on the floor, Lazada, Moller, Bogut, guys that can be more effective scoring options. But again, you have to remember that Casper Ware's being guarded by players much taller than him at the Breakers, and that won't be the same against Melbourne or even Perth. So he's had a big lineup mix up the first few games. I think that will change come Melbourne and Perth, which are obviously going to be the two biggest rivals this season, when you guys got Mello Trimble and Bryce Cotton, who are around about the 6 foot mark. So I think that's where he will be much more effective. But RJ Hampton's 6'4", guarded him really well. He's putting up a lot of bricky shots, trying to get into lanes and just getting smashed. Hobson was played very well. But it is a little bit worried that he's not looking, if the shot's not 100% on, to pass it out and get it to an open guy. He kind of just gets into that momentum. Are you seeing that as well?
Yeah, for sure. Some of the shots he takes are just bad shots, and that's like when offense breaks down. Like I feel like he plays in a few dodgy lineups where you've got kind of Kickett and Moller, and you're down one offensive guy. Like as good as Moller's been, he still doesn't have like a defined role in this offense. He's kind of picking up scraps here and there, being the hustle guy, which is good. I like that, and his defense is really good. But it's not like I know I can create something here, and I know this Moller's right there. Bang, I'll hit him. I think he's playing a little bit like that, and sometimes he works with Bogut, but I feel like Bogut is just a bit slow for him. Like whereas, Randall last year would run out ahead of everything, and that would be a problem. Whereas this, I feel like Castaway is like, I'm trying to stay really controlled here and work something with Bogut, but it just doesn't gel, doesn't come off. I think his chemistry, like it feels like he doesn't trust Bogut to take the ball either. Like he can't just go, you know what, I'll just give it up for this set here, take it. Like feels like he wants the ball all the time, but I don't mind that too because he's scoring as well and he's getting to the line a little bit. He's getting a little bit disrespected at the line. Like a couple of times today, he just got crunched at the basket and didn't get anything. But he shot 11 of 12 free throws, kind of got us out of a little bit of a hole in game one at home. Finished with 27 points, so game high. But when we go through our 3-2-1 later, I don't want to give him like 3 points because it doesn't feel like a performance where you're just like that fantastic.
I kind of don't even want to give him any points because just like
that's harsh, man.
If you throw up like 40 shots, you should be getting 20 odd points. Whereas I think guys like Jayshawn Tate, Bogut had a fantastic game Friday night. Jayshawn Tate had a blinder, and Newley played so well Friday night as well. These are the kind of guys that you want to give the points to because Casper Ware should be, although he's putting up 27 points, it's off like how many? Probably 27 shots.
Yeah, 8 of 24, 8 from 16
it's
from
ridiculous.
2. See, that's like 0 of 8 from 3. I mean, 8 of 16 should tell you, all right, Casper, tuck the 3 ball away, maybe shoot 2 or 3 threes, and then put it away, and then just start diming the ball, like dishing the ball around. Because, like you said, Sean Bruce had 7 assists in this game, and then how many assists did he have? 3 today, Savo. So yeah, that's just my only kind of worry. Like I'm a little bit worried about Casper. I feel like he'll just keep shooting anyway. So it's a little bit like Randall last year where he just kind of kept doing his thing, and you're like, I just gotta live with it. I guess it works most of the time. So cool. But Newley, we should go on to Newley really quickly. Chilled as all hell, man.
Yeah, man.
Did you see him in the post game where he's just like, had some time down in the Murray, just had some camping with my old man, went to Italy for a few days and came back. How much? Because I remember the first episode we did, I was just like, man, like something's up with Newley. Does he feel like low key or something? And that just puts it into perspective where you're just like, he's just so chilled, man.
Yeah, he's just getting to that point in his life. It's like I know what I need to do. Although his 3 balls back on, which is
not too bad. He did give away burgers, so
still giving away burgers.
Today his first 3 throws today. So Brad's Burgers gave away burgers today straight away. He got fouled, so I was like, hey, first time he's got fouled, and then straight away just missed both free throws. He's
such a good finisher at the rim, though. It's ridiculous how good he is, just going downhill in the face of traffic and finishing. I think he's kind of that downhill face traffic guy, but Jayshawn Tate is just excellent in finishing the offensive glass. Just, man, what a pickup he's been. What a find. Just a complete and utter bulldog inside and changed the way we get second chance points in this league.
I think
completely.
It's not even that. I think it's just, it is that, but it's not just that. I mean, he's just relentless all round, like diving on the floor. It was, I think there was a play today where he got fouled, like basically just pushed over, and they were like, no, flop boarding, like get up. And then he got back into the play straight away when Didi got a steal and pretty much put the ball back in and got an and one. And he just never stops, man. And it was the Energizer Bunny that we didn't really have last season. And I'll keep saying it. It's because all season you're just going to see that he's just that spark plug guy that just never gives in. It's crazy to watch. He's just such a good player and gets rewarded too for his momentum, I feel like, as well. Like, he's always there. He's always trying to grab boards. He's always bodying guys underneath the basket. I think he works really well with Moller too. Like, Moller's a guy who can grab rebounds because he's a little bit more sized. Yet Tate's always there, helping his guy out, which is great. He's been a fantastic pickup. Did he shooting 3 balls the other night? What do we got here?
Low volume.
No, he didn't shoot any in the first game, which is all right. I don't want him. Oh wait, no,
that's not his craft.
1 of 3.
His craft is getting into the paint and just creating mayhem. Probably, if he shot the free throw pretty well as well, considering. But that's probably his only criticism, is getting that to a higher percentage, because his and ones are going to be very, very high this year for a guy that just plays inside.
And he's pump fake, man. I haven't seen anyone not bite on his pump fake yet. He's just always there, and then bang, everyone bites on it every time. So I wonder how long it's going to be until somebody stops biting on his pump fake. But yeah, he was fantastic. Moller, we should just shout out Craig Moller really quickly, because he was fantastic as well. I think, like I said before, there's not a defined role on offense, and you can feel that too. Like, you just it kind of gets in the way a little bit, but on defense, man, he's just the perfect foil. It's like, we didn't have Lazada in the first couple of games, but we had Craig Moller. We were just like, all right, get out there and play 2 to 3 and just get on the perimeter and hassle guys. And that's just what he's perfect at. And then when he drops back inside, he's great at grabbing those sort of guard rebounds, which is good too.
It's definitely that. He's like an upgraded version of David Ware. It's just like, he's the same size, but David Ware was I really just think about what they've gone out and gotten this year in terms of class. And I think Will Weaver is an excellent coach. So insightful and so good at putting a team together. And you just think Andrew Gaze was just such trash. Like,
it's a bit
just
harsh.
Such trash. It's not harsh. He should have why? Where did you see David Ware? Maybe he went and scouted his brother Travis Ware and just like, oh, we'll get the twin, he'll just be as good. He just was so bad. He had one good game, one good defining moment, but Moller's really proven himself game in and game out, playing some excellent minutes and getting scrappy and being great on the hustle and defensively. And that's a great pickup for him to come back to Sydney. And then you've got Jayshawn Tate, who's completely undersized to play the 4. But Will Weaver's obviously just seen he's a bulldog and just gets shit done. And it's such awesome basketball to watch. The Friday night game was just an awesome game of basketball. Even New Zealand playing really well. The game today was a bit turgid, but that's okay. It's
detergent.
Yeah, a bit turgid.
Turgid. So we'll go through some of this. Sorry to just correct your English live on air. That was a bit rude of me, eh? I think we need to work on our chemistry a little bit, eh? So we'll go through the team stats. So we shot 34 of 74, 45%. New Zealand still shot 44%, which was pretty good. We shot 57% from 2, and then only 18%. Like, is that a worry to you? Do you feel like the 3 ball's a bit of a worry for this team yet?
It's a worry, but it just seems like everyone else in the comp's pretty trash too. So it's like, yep, sweet, yeah. I think it's going to be a worry coming up against Melbourne and Perth. Bryce Cotton's an absolute animal at the moment.
Dirty.
And Tariq White as well is playing out of his socks. And you've got some crafty older guys in Damien Martin and Nick Kay. Like, that Perth team is still the team to beat.
Yeah, man.
Melbourne looks a little bit weaker, although Chris Gould can fly off the handle at any point. I think he had the first 11 of 13 points today for Melbourne, just shooting lights out. So you never know with these guys. And that was a good game today, Melbourne-Perth. But, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about the 3 ball at this stage. I just don't think it's our craft at the moment. And, maybe when Lazada gets, back into some full health, he can knock down a few.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting into nice spots. We're just not knocking him down. That's really our problem at the moment, is we're just not knocking that 3 ball down. We're shooting enough of them. We're shooting them in the right spots. It feels like we're not like, it feels like only Casper Ware's the guy that's just tossing up threes like candy, basically. It feels like everyone else is getting open shots. The bench is chipping in too. Like, the bench chipped in against Adelaide. and they've chipped in actually quite well in the first game against New Zealand, even though, you know, the stats don't really show it. They did a few times sort of come in and stop the bleeding a little bit and then allow those starters again to finish off game one quite well. Did you see Will Weaver's post-match after game one?
I did not.
Yeah, it was with Brad Newley, and they'll basically call him Bogut old. And then Brad Newley's like, man, I'm only like three months younger than Bogut. And I'm like, man, Brad Newley's younger than me. Damn it. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
How old are you this year?
35. But I'm born on the same day as Bogut, exact same day. So when Bogut's like, oh, I'm 35, I'm like, hey, we're not 35 yet, mate. Chill out. We're nearly 35. So the next segment was, I've got a stat that'll blow your mind, but I couldn't come up with a stat to blow your mind this week. So we'll remain intact on the mind. We'll go into the second game today. Today's game was, pretty ordinary. Felt like the second game of kind of like a back-to-back. Did it feel like that to you?
It's a long way to travel to play basketball for this league. So I would say both teams are going to, coming off a Sydney Friday night, then having to travel and go to New Zealand on the Sunday. It was not going to be the best quality basketball. Started off pretty good, and then everyone just went cold and just went to Brick City, and everyone was bricking shots. Corey Webster was probably the man of the match for my mind. Just got into some good places, played really well. But I think that we've just got the class and the depth of bench to take this all the way against some of the lesser teams and get those easy wins.
Yeah, I think it felt like quick. Sydney's the closest to New Zealand, though, isn't it? Or is Melbourne closer?
Brisbane's slightly closer.
To New
Not
Zealand?
very much, though. Slightly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It did feel like there was a bit low energy out of the gate, but like last year, how many times did we watch games where you're just like, oh, quick turnaround, we're going to die here. Like we started games really hot and then we just die, and you could feel it. You'd just be like, oh yeah, second game of a back-to-back, we're just going to die in this game, and we're going to have to hold on. This game, we felt like we played quite well constantly through it, and it was our defense basically that got us over the line. Both teams started all right, expended a lot of energy. Like I felt like at the start, like some of New Zealand's shots that were going down were just some absolutely garbage looks. And you're just like, oh, come on, man. Like, these kept going down. RJ Hampton had a couple of twos that you were just like, really? Like, into traffic and just finishing over Bogut? Like, all right, that's pretty low percentage. Rob Lowe was just hitting threes, and you're just like, I was sitting there just going, yes, keep shooting him, Rob Lowe. Because eventually I think he missed 0 of 2 pretty much in crunch time in that fourth quarter. Corey Webster, but his mid-range game is just butter. I just love watching him play.
Yeah, it's smooth.
And I felt like it's a good tactic to, kind of spread our perimeter out and then go, right, we're going to Bogut. And everyone goes, yes, come into Bogut. Then Corey Webster would kind of escape dribble out to the sort of the foul line and shoot a jumper. And I felt like that was where they were getting a lot of momentum from, and that was good for them. It's going to be something we just have to live with Bogut, because a lot of teams are either going to go straight into Bogut and he's just going to be like, yes, thank you, see you later. Or they're going to devise schemes like, remember that Illawarra game last year where they beat us basically by just kind of driving to the paint and then sort of escaping back out and just tossing it into guys diving at the hoop. That's a thing this year that I don't think we're going to see, basically because we got those horizontal guys in Tate and when Moller's on the court as well, and you got guys like Didi Luzardo who are quite long. Like Didi again was superb on the defensive end. He had a couple of steals. How many steals did he end up with? 2 steals. Bogut had a couple of steals. Ware had a couple of steals. Newley had a couple of steals. Like, we're not really a high steals team usually. We're kind of
we're not really a pickpocket team. No. It's kind of just funnel everything into Bogut so he blocks it. But yeah, Bogut was excellent this game as well. Just grabbing boards at will, blocking shots, changing trajectories. Scoring as well. Got to the line a few times, shot pretty well from the line for Bogut's sake.
3 or 4, yeah.
Better than 50%, which is usually what he's at. He looks at, even though he's injured, he's still in MVP form, which is good to see.
I think he's just got the skill and the body. And teams, it feels like, again, teams are kind of starting to go a little bit smaller this season. Like, it was really only Rob Lowe and Bogut that you saw out there in a rebound match, like a big man matchup. Everyone else kind of felt like 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". and there wasn't really that bigger guy, which is why I think Moller grabbed so many boards. He ended up with 7 boards as well. But yeah, what else have I got in my notes here? Brad Newley giving away burgers. Refs today were a bit ordinary. Did you feel like?
A little bit ordinary. I don't think they made too many wrong calls. I just think they stopped the momentum of play to check too many things.
Yeah, a little bit of home cooking, man. There was in that first half, there was a few times where I think Weeks got a pretty soft call right after Casper Ware just drove into 2 guys and got smacked. And then Tate drives into 2 guys and gets smacked. So I felt like the refs, even I've been watching a lot more of the league, and again, the standard in general, I think is just really bad. And I've just kind of gotten used to now just going, all right, the standard's just bad. It's not just Sydney. Because last year I didn't really watch the wider league. Now that I've watched the wider league, I'm kind of like, the refs are just pretty crap for everyone. So I'm kind of backing off a little bit on my ref rage. Winning also helps as well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but Bogut, so 5 of 8, 13 points, 16 boards. Only 1 dime today. I felt like they took away that Andrew Bogut passing, and when when Bogut was matched up on low, you're just like, yes, please take low, because that's what you need to do. You need to basically drive on low. But when he wasn't, when he didn't really have any mismatches, and Kickett didn't really get mismatches either. So they didn't really get a chance to exploit the passing at the elbow. I felt like we played kind of a faster game getting downhill too, so we didn't really have time to sort of wait around for Bogut to initiate any offense, which is why
New Zealand, I think, were smart enough to shut down a lot of the passing lanes. A lot of watching those backdoor cuts and those easy layups. I think they closed down Bogut quite well, and they got very close when he was working on ball screens with Lazada and Casper Ware. And so kind of they shut down that 2-man game and just kind of let him do his thing in the defensive area. But it got very ISO basketball there for a bit, and it was bad to watch. It's just kind of
second quarter, yeah. So it was 25-21 in the first quarter, and then we had a 15-24 second quarter. So we only scored 15 points in that second quarter. That's very tightened
very
up.
ISO. It was just, and you could just see Will Weaver just losing his marbles on the sideline.
Man. Did you see him get that technical?
Yeah.
That was the tamest technical I've ever seen. He's basically just going, he just elbowed the guy. It was so tame, man. I'm like, and then even it's Will Weaver, man. Why are you giving him a technical? He's so timid on the sideline. He never fires up or says anything. But the other thing too, in his huddles, he's always saying these, he's dropping these little dimes of knowledge, the refs are looking for this, they're looking for the hook, so make sure you exaggerate it. And then you see it a few plays later, you're just like, man, he's so switched on. It's crazy. I love getting into those huddles. And today he had one where he's just like, blah, 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 doing my team speech. And then he went, all right, now that we're about to go back, let's have another huddle because I know the mics are on us. And then this thing pans out and they go and they have another huddle and he's talking in the huddle, away from the mics. I'm like, savvy, nice work. Yeah, that's good.
Best one is just make sure you keep lots of smiles going out there so that team doesn't know where, just keep the smiles up, boys, keep the smiles up. I was like, this is the strangest thing I've ever seen.
He's awesome, man. He's just so canny. It's just such a weird personality. Coming from Gaze too, it's just such a sort of weird change of pace.
It's good to watch a professional do his work, whereas Gaze just on the sideline, just hand in hand, and it was just hilarious to watch. It was like a trade
with the refs and stuff like that. Laughing with the refs. So what else did we get out? Jay Sean Tate played really well. 15 points, 6 of 9 from the field. Didn't shoot any threes, which was good. 6 boards, 2 assists. We only had 10 assists in this game. I think we had 16 in game the other New Zealand game, but we had 25 assists against Adelaide. So the assist numbers went down a little bit. Teams are going to, as the season goes along, they're going to get into our lanes, basically, because they're going to start to know our offense. Having Kevin Lish in these 2 games kind of hurt us a little bit because I feel like he's still the only one that can get us an ISO bucket. I just don't want Casper Ware to take ISO shots.
Yeah, Lish is much better at getting that kind of step back, whereas Casper's almost, if he's fading away, he's not as efficient. It has to be that open kind of in transition shot, but that contested fadeaway. Again, he's been playing against bigger guards as well, except Randall. But he's been playing against some pretty big guards, so it'll be interesting to see what he's like against Bryce Cotton and Melo Trimble in the Melbourne games. But we should probably do 3-2-1 now. Pick.
Just quickly, So we held them to 8 points in that fourth quarter. I think that's the least points we've held a team to in the last 2 seasons.
What did we? I think we held Cairns to like 6 points in that game.
6 in the other game.
Yeah, fourth quarter they must have only scored 8 as well. It was very low.
Yeah, I'll have to double check that. But yeah, holding them to 8 points. Our defense was just phenomenal in that final quarter. I know it was a pretty crap game to watch in terms of if you wanted to watch two teams going at it, scoring buckets. For me, watching us play defense in the fourth quarter, I was just like, this is just fantastic. Like, phenomenal.
That Didi Lozada pinch right at the end, just smacking it out of...
Yeah, like he went for a reach on the front, and then when he didn't get the reach on the front, he went and reached at the back and like poked it away. That was just perfect. And then they threw the ball to Brad Newley, and I'm going, no, don't get fouled. Like, don't get fouled, Brad. Get rid of it. And then he hits the free throws anyway. Both of them are just pure as well, and I'm like, fair enough. Fair enough, Brad. The other thing, Casper Ware and Tate. We've got Casper Ware Tate misdiagnosis, number 2 for the season. Somebody called Casper Ware Jay Sean Tate, and somebody's called Jay Sean Tate Casper Ware.
Couldn't look any more different.
I know, seriously. And we had Deng misdiagnoses last year, and now we've got Casper and Tate misdiagnosis. Apart from that, I think that's all we've got on that game. 3-2-1 now for game 1.
I'm going to go Bogut 3.
Yep.
Ware 2.
Yep.
Newley 1. I think I'm only giving it to Ware because he scored 27 points. That's still a decent.
I went with Bogut, Ware, Tate. I wanted to swap Ware with Newley, but I don't want to give Ware points, man, because I just don't think he's playing that well. But if you're scoring 27 points, you're scoring the bulk of our points, and you're winning games for us, really. So, which is fair enough. And at New Zealand, what'd you have?
Bogut 3.
Bogut.
Tate 2.
Yep.
And I'm going to have to say, I was really thinking hard about the 1. I don't want to give it to Ware. He just didn't play really that well.
I gave it to Ware, so
I'm going to give the 1 to Lozada for his defense. I think his defense was just outstanding, and some svelte free throw shooting, as well as a couple of dimes and some steals. So where Lozada, I'll give 1.
Sweet. Locked in now. Next week's game, we'll do a little preview on Brisbane.
Oh, trash-tastic, man. They are looking terrible.
They started out really well, man. Their first game they won was pretty good.
But it's the same team last year. It's, Cam Glenn's good. They're just, I'm not feeling the Lamanus schemes with a lesser, like for Australia it works because you've got Paddy Mills just scoring points, but there isn't that guard. Like they've got Kadee and Sobey who are not predominant shooters, they're predominant distributors. So it's kind of like, it doesn't really work in this system. So,
I'm not like Sobey doesn't fit this team, man. You're right. You've got Kadee. Why do you need Sobey? Basically,
they're both distributors. Why do you need a scoring point guard? If you got Kadee as your backup, because he'll distribute the ball really well, then you can move the scoring guard to 2. I don't like the team that's been set up. Honestly, it's not. Glidden's had a bit of a rough start. Is Bairstow playing there this season?
I think he's left. I think they've got. I haven't seen. Maybe he's there. Admittedly, I've watched every game this season, and I just can't think of what their roster. Lamar Patterson, we kind of ate him last season. Hodgson is their center. Doesn't look like Bairstow's there anymore. But Lamar Patterson always good for 20 and 6. Sobey, I just don't feel like he fits this team. Like he gives them energy, and I feel like last year, if we were playing a team where all their guards are giving it energy, like we'd be in trouble. But this year, it's like, we've got Tate Moller and Kevin Lish. Good luck, guards with energy. Like we fight that off. Basically, we've got the horizontal spacing to just basically munch guys going to the hoop, and then funnel. Like even if we don't funnel them into Bogut, usually Moller or Jay Sean Tate's going to eat them up, or Didi even. Looking at their roster, Tarangi, you're not really getting that many minutes. Vakona's still there, yeah.
It seems like it's a team that's a year older without getting a year better.
Yeah,
it's just like it's a bit tired. Lamar Patterson's probably their best. Kadee is, hit and miss. Good for a dish, but not for a point. I think if Sobey has an on night, then you kind of maybe pushing it a bit, but I think he'll just get munched by Lozada, honestly. And I'm not seeing too much resistance You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not seeing too much resistance next weekend.
They had a pretty comfortable win against the Hawks, then they had a pretty comfortable win against the Taipans, who, admittedly, the Taipans looked really good in that first half. Same against when they played us. Like, they looked really good in the first half and went, oh my God, the Taipans. And then the Taipans just went, oh yeah, we're the Taipans, and just lost.
I don't think it's where the Taipans. I think they've just got no bench depth. They've got a really, really good six man and 6 players, and then you can't play that 40 minutes a night. It's just not going to work. They lack the depth of bench that Sydney, your Melbourne, your Perth, even your Brisbane do. And same with the Hawks. Like, they've just not got a lot of good deep bench. And I'm not loving I was on the LaMelo hype train, and I'm not really on the LaMelo hype train anymore.
You're stepping off that train, are you?
I was like, yeah, this kid's good. He's like 6'8". That's oversized point guard. He's a bit like mute on defense. It's all about the flashy offense, but lack of defense. And
then Aaron Brooks in that team, where it's like, clearly Aaron Brooks should just be playing 33 minutes a night. Like, why is he coming off the bench? Yeah. And then now he's kind of starting and kind of getting a bigger role, and you're just like, but it's still not working. And he flops a lot, man. If I don't know if you've watched their games, like, he flops heaps. He was getting a little bit rewarded in the first couple of games, but now he's just getting nothing, and he fouled out the other night. Who did they play? Taipans? Was it? No,
Perth.
they got smashed by Perth. And against the Taipans, they played all right, but the Taipans...
No, they beat Perth. They beat Perth on Friday night. They smashed
them. The Taipans did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Taipans played the Hawks last round.
Oh, they lost by a couple of points that one.
Yeah, it was a good game, that. But then, the Hawks basically played the Wildcats. No, Hawks played the Phoenix. They got munched by the Phoenix. Brisbane admittedly got back to Brisbane. They got munched by the Phoenix as well, and then lost to the 36ers. It was just like, where did this 36ers team come from? Just
I think we're going to see...
Randall and... What's his name? DJ, basically. 2-man.
I think we're going to see a lot of those kind of random, like, ooh, they've just played really well one game and they've blown them out of the water, but yet then they just go back to trash next week. So
it's all about this league in a nutshell, really.
Pretty much. How are we going for tips this round?
We're going all right. Who's this we? Because we're up against each other.
Yeah, I know. How am I going?
You're going all right. You're on 10. For this week, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6 with one to come.
That's not bad.
Not bad. Freaking Melbourne, man, just blowing that game today. Jesus, just...
Yeah, I know.
They blew that other game against Perth too. They were really good against Perth and just blew it. Bryce Cotton with just a bank shot, absolute chuck bank shot to win the game. It's like, get out of here, Bryce Cotton. We should do picks for next round, and then we'll wrap it up.
That's it. Who's coming out on top of the MVP, the King's Dime MVP race? I think Bogut's pretty much set in at 6 now, isn't he?
I can't tally it up yet. I'm basically just writing the names down. I'm not actually writing like numbers down. So Bogut's got 1, 2, 3 lots of threes, and then Tate's got 3 lots of threes, and Lish has got 2 lots of threes. So it's definitely Bogut, Tate, and Lish to start with. But 3 rounds in, come on, early days yet.
Indeed.
I'll do some other. All right, round 4 picks. Hawks at the Breakers.
I'm gonna go Breakers. It's at home. I think they're due for a win.
You're definitely off that Hawks train.
Yeah, massively.
Oh, LaMelo versus RJ. I'll just make it interesting. Go Hawks. Because I'm doing these picks blind. I haven't done these picks yet either. So Taipans at the 36ers.
Ooh, I'm going to go Taipans.
Types. I like the types as well. Phoenix at Wildcat. This is going to be big, man. The Phoenix look good.
I'm gonna go Perth.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Wildcats just because it's in Perth, and I think that Bryce Cotton is on fire and Tariq White's playing well, and they've got a good team.
They got Southeast Melbourne have got a pretty good guard depth with what's his name? Robertson, yeah. Just can get hot. I'm going Southeast Melbourne. Breakers at Melbourne United.
Ooh, I'm going to go Breakers.
I'm going Melbourne United. 0-3 Melbourne are going to get their first win. 0-3, 0-4. Bullets at the Kings. Kings. Yeah, we're just going to take L's when the Kings lose, I think. I keep saying that every time we make picks. 36ers at Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Wildcats at the Hawks.
Wildcats.
Cats. You're definitely off this Hawks train. United at the Taipans.
This is a deep round, Jesus. Ooh, I'm gonna go the Taipans.
Types. I was going to go types and throw it up as well. Nah, I'll go United because I think United are just going to be like Taipans. Yeah, nah, get out of here. And that is pretty much it for round 4 tips. And that's pretty much it for round 3 episode of On the King's Dime. Do we need to cover anything else? You got anything else left to say, Andy?
Don't think so. I think that's we're pretty good. That is a wrap.
Good round.
They-
4-0
they
Kings.
look
Feels
jelly
good.
spoon.
Feels good.
Feels great. Feels fantastic, especially when Melbourne haven't won a game yet.
Yeah, I know. Today I'm watching that game thinking, if Melbourne lose, that's all right. But I really want Melbourne to win for my tips. For like that loss, whatever. Melbourne lost. 0-3. Eat that.
That's all good.
All right, and we'll probably be back. When's that game? I think Sunday next week or Saturday?
Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Yeah,
So maybe we'll come back next Sunday and give another episode post match for the Brisbane game. And like us on YouTube and on Facebook. I forgot to actually look at the comments. Where's my window here? Only from Bilal, just talking about a perfect round, and Ramika wants to know what brand of beer. We can't name the brand of beer because we might lose sponsors if we name the brand of beer live on air.
Our sponsorship zero may go from 0 to 0.
And we will see you guys next time on the King's Dime. Take it easy, everyone. Have a good night.
Peace out. See ya.